According to Morton, mulatto or mixed-blood women did not easily bear children, and if they were to mate only with other mulattoes, their descendants would ultimately become sterile. The idea that half-breeds, as the term was used, could not propagate indefinitely led Morton to the conclusion that white and black were entirely different species. Morton also used the measurement of crania to establish invariant descriptions of ethnic and racial groups. In his work, Crania Americana, published in 1839, he compared the Indian, or what he called the American race, with the Ethiopian race, as Africans were then called. Here is part of his findings. Quote number 2. The American race is marked by a brown complexion, long black lank hair, and deficient beard. The eyes are black and deep set, the brow low, the cheekbones high, the nose large and aquiline, the mouth large, and the lips tumid and compressed. The skull is small, wide between the parietal protuberances, prominent at the vertex and flat on the occiput. In their mental character, the Americans are averse to cultivation and slow in acquiring knowledge. Restless, revengeful, and fond of war, and wholly destitute of maritime adventure. The Ethiopian race. Characterized by a black complexion and black woolly hair. The eyes are large and prominent, the nose broad and flat, the lips thick, and the mouth wide. The head is long and narrow, the forehead low, the cheekbones prominent, the jaws projecting, and the chin small. In disposition, the Negro is joyous, flexible, and indolent, while the many nations which compose this race present a singular diversity of intellectual character, of which the far extreme is the lowest grade of humanity. End of quote. You will note how physical attributes are here logically, although tacitly, linked to the dispositions and character of a group of individuals. Also, note that no variations are here taken into account. When Morton died in 1851, two of his polygenist disciples took over the scene. Josiah Nott and George Glidden co-authored one of the most famous, or rather infamous, works legitimizing racism, entitled Types of Mankind, published in 1854. Like Morton, they also relied on craniology. Here are some excerpts. Quote number 3. The unity of the human species has also been stoutly maintained on psychological grounds. Numerous attempts have been made to establish the intellectual equality of the dark races with the white, and the history of the past has been ransacked for examples, but they are nowhere to be found. Can anyone call the name of a full-blooded Negro who has ever written a page worthy of being remembered? We shall have more to say in another chapter on the amalgamation of races, but may here remark that the infusion of even a minute proportion of the blood of one race into another produces a most decided modification of moral and physical character. A small trace of white blood in the Negro improves him in intelligence and morality, and an equally small trace of Negro blood, as in the quadroon, will protect such individual against the deadly influence of climates, which the pure white man cannot endure. End of quote. At the other end of the debating panel in the United States was the monogenist John Bachman, a South Carolinian minister and proprietor of slaves. Bachman staunchly believed in the unique and common origin of human species, for he was a religious man. However, this did not lead to a prevailing equality between blacks and whites. In this case, Bachman would resort to the scriptures, and in particular to Genesis and the curse of Ham, to demonstrate blacks' inferiority, and thus justify slavery, as he did in his Doctrine of the Unity of the Human Race, examined on the Principles of Science, published in 1850. Whereas polygenesis would have been the perfect rationale to justify slavery in the South, slaveholders in their vast majority actually rejected it, for it contradicted the Bible. Scientifically, Charles Darwin's On the Origin of the Species, 1859, laid the foundations of evolutionary theory and put an end to the dispute between polygenists and monogenists. Darwin did recognize inherent natural differences between species, although he did not actually focus on humans, as well as the possibility of measuring such differences. He, on the other hand, did not posit that the direction of evolution was toward the Caucasian race, nor did he imply any hierarchy between the races. The 19th century witnessed a frenzy of measurement of outward differences, which might explain the inferiority of others. The question was, which method should be used? Which criterion? Anthropologists and scientists took as basis skin color, the study of crania, the actual angles of faces in the case of renowned German naturalist Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, or physiognomy, which is the relation and determination of a person's moral character based on his physical body, and phrenology, moral character predicated by shape and size of skull. They also use hair, human brains, their shape, their weight, their convolutions. The intention was clearly to underline the causal relation between race, here the observation of physical traits, and cultural differences and characteristics. These scientific debates and theories did not remain within the anthropologist sphere, but permeated other areas. Authors' and artists' representations of the black other were often influenced by these ideas, just as they would be by the significant rise of social Darwinism in the latter quarter of the century.